Ladies and gentlemen, we are here again today, and I'm telling you that there are clues being dropped all over the market, and we don't have to look very far to actually be able to see what is going to be happening in the very near future. We're going to be looking a little bit more specifically at the United States. We're going to be looking at Canada. We're going to be looking at some individual examples and looking at what clues we can pick up so that you make a lot more money in real estate. All right, so let's jump into the first one of the day. If we take a look at the first of all, we jump right into this hours worked. Hours worked, you guys. So if we take a look at this, when we look at hours worked, we could see a massive problem in the United States before they actually start cutting employment and cutting jobs. The very first thing they're going to do is cut hours. As we start watching the hours worked, this is the same in Canada. People at first will be cutting your number of hours that they're going to be offering you. In exchange, they're going to be giving you these other issues, right? So as we can see, this is like the second largest drop off since they started keeping track of these hours. Obviously, in 2009, it was very bad, but here it is again, dropping off like a stone. This is a major problem. So I want you guys to pay attention to this. This is what they call a leading indicator. This is not something that the news is talking about. You need to be able to understand this is going to hit you. Now, when we're going to see people losing their jobs, for example, we have to look at, well, everyone keeps talking about housing. So if you look at housing, though, and you look at it overall, let's be a grown-up here. If we look at it and say, well, guys, in 2007, the average price of a home was $300,000 and it dropped all the way down to $257,000. Guys, that was a $40,000 drop. Nothing, nada. 2007, 8, 9, if we look at a chart, is squat. So what is all the big deal? What is the fuss? And here is some of the clues that it leaves behind. Number one is that it does not affect everywhere the same. You must forget that. Never in history has that statement ever been good, that everybody is the same. All these types of people are the same. Everybody in real estate is the same. Every financial advisor is the same. Every lawyer is the same. It just never works. The moment you hear that, you got to disconnect, and I don't listen anymore. Okay, so when we're going to look at real estate, I always tell people in my one block where I live, one block, you have a grocery store, a dentist's office, you have residential, huge penthouses, you have restaurants, you have everything. And they all behave differently. Now, I can tell you that each type of market behaves differently, and then inside of each city is different, each side of every country is different. This is why you need specialists, regardless of where you work. All right, so if we continue on, let's take a look at the Canadian real estate market. Specifically, let's look at the Canadian real estate market. If we take a look at the Canadian real estate market, these are the two biggest markets that are out there, Vancouver and Toronto. This is by far the majority of the real estate across the country in dollar terms. Now you can see that the value of the homes for 1.3 million or so crashed all the way down to $1 million, and now they're rebounding, right? So this is as far as dollar terms. Now, if we include all the cities in Canada, well, the majority of them, it's not big enough to hold them all, you're going to see a very, very similar pattern of all the prices spike up. That's because interest rates pushed all of them higher. Then all the rates falling. That's interest rates. But notice they're not all dropping by the same amount, and they're not all going up by the same amount, but there is something that rhymes. So we have to be able to find the ones that are not going to drop as much. Let's take a look at the worst offender here, 1.6 million dropping all the way down to 1.2, $400,000 liquidated. That is a bankruptcy event. If we go down right to the bottom, here's a place in Quebec. Average prices in Quebec, $220,000 at the low. At the high, it was $225,000. The prices never dropped at all. So we know that not all places are the same. This is very, very important for us to understand that not all places are the same. We need to follow the numbers. Also, another clue, if we're going to look at the health and sickness of the market, I show this often. A fixed rate mortgage is always above a variable rate mortgage, always. And so if we're looking here and see this security blanket that is gone up and up. Fixed, the blue line is always above the variable, always. But we'll notice that when the year started, a flippening happened. And now a fixed rate mortgage is what? Way cheaper. And the majority of Canadians are now picking fixed rate mortgages because they're almost 1% less. Currently, 6.75 for a variable, 5.94 for a fixed. So now everybody's jumping into a fixed. Here is another clue for you. Whenever you see a fixed rate mortgage below a variable rate mortgage, you know that something is very wrong in the economy. So if we're going to remember that, you're getting this safety blanket because of a fixed rate mortgage. It is a guarantee to you, and that guarantee costs something. It has to cost something in any regular market. So you have to ask yourself, what do the banks know that you don't know? That's what I want you to ask yourself. And so here comes my second part. Let me show you this. Let me ask you this question. If you were going to get a fixed rate mortgage in any other time in history and you wanted a 2-year fixed rate, 5-year fixed rate, 10-year fixed rate, you know that you'd have to pay more and more and more as you go out that risk curve. The longer you want your security blanket, the more you're going to have to pay for it. This is the way it has always been. All right, so let's take a look at Royal Bank of Canada. They have 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, 5 year, and 7 year. They used to have 10 year. Now they've removed that. But notice that a 1 year fixed is 6.89, 2 years 6.5, 3 years 6.2, 4 year is 6, 5 year is 6, and 7 year is 6.25. Listen, almost all of those rates, almost all of them are exactly the same. They're all the same rate. If you want to lock in from 1 year, 2, 5, or 7 years, it's all the same rate. What does that mean? That means that the banks can foresee trouble in the future, and that's why they're willing to give you the same rate for a 7 year than a 1 year. That's why they're doing that. So we have to look at these clues. This is not going to be in the headlines of mainstream media kind of stuff. We got to dig into those details. We're also seeing very, very big differences in how businesses are going. So if we take a look at Toronto prices, this is just where I am, but this is just an example. Most cities in North America, if we're talking about Vancouver, or we're going to talk about Toronto, or we're going to talk about New York, Miami, Chicago, they're all very, very, very similar right now. And so here is the prices where I am currently. We can see that in the past 12 months, right here, 12 months, the prices went from $1,089,000 as the average price to now $1,127,000. So prices not have just recovered, they're actually gained more than what it was 12 months ago. And that is extremely, extremely unhealthy. This causes a problem. Now, I got to call out all of these people that are online that keep telling you, well, it's because supply is low. Complete garbage. That does not mean anything. Complete garbage. There is a lot of people that need homes in Africa and India and Brazil, and think of other countries. We got to think outside of this. There's a lot of people that need homes. So it has nothing to do with a big population and a small amount of homes. That's not the main thing. The main driver here is liquidity. And can people afford the payments? End of story. It has nothing to do with anything else except, can people get mortgages? And if they can buy the home. If they cannot, they're going to be out. So let's take a look at a loan calculator. I also share this a lot. If we're looking at a loan from last year for $1 million, which is quite average in Toronto, at 2%, $4,200 payment, but $1 million this year, a lot of our clients are getting 8s, 9s, 9.9, but we put at 8% there, 7.7K, up $2,500. If you want to say, let's go with the 6.5 that is being advertised, the majority of people cannot get the advertised rate. We've done complete videos on that. But if we want to even stay objectional and say, okay, miraculously, you're going to be able to qualify for the advertised rate, even if you are, okay? The difference in price now is $2,500 more, from $4,200 to $6,700. That's an enormous amount. Now, you have to ask yourself, There's only two ways that these prices can sustain themselves. Only two ways. If it's $2,200 difference, either A, the clients have to now make $2,200 more dollars per month, every month for that payment. Can they do that? Number one. Number two is, if not, then home prices have to fall. Please remember too, let's actually do this together. If the loan, let's share this loan page with you. If this is the way it is, do you need to qualify for a $6,700 payment? That's my question for you. Do you? Well, the answer is absolutely not. Let's take a look at what the rule says. If we look at OSFI, the rule says that you need to have a little buffer put in that. 2% over the contract rate. 2% over. So even if you were the best client on earth with no credit, no risk fee attached to you, zero, 6.5 plus 2%, you now have to qualify for, I want to hear a drum roll in the distance, you would need to qualify for 8.5%, 2% over the contract rate. So either money, you have to make a lot more money, or home prices got to come down. So everyone asks me, what do you mean? Like, how far, David, does it mean when the home prices have to correct? Well, we pulled up an example for you. Right now, $500,000, if you got a 10%, which we're seeing a lot of clients get at 25 years, you would have the same payment at $4,500. Right here, last year, it would have been $4,200 for 2%. So you know what? What do we want to qualify for? The best you're going to qualify for is 8.5. That's even if you were the most ideal client on the planet. You have to qualify for that. So even if you did that, you would have a $4,000 payment. So that means home prices could fall by 50%. Are you ready for this? This is my question for you. Are you ready for this? Now, let me tell you the sad truth behind this. The majority, by far, the majority of the clients that we talk to on a daily basis, my agents, the people that I deal with, they don't have a plan in any way. Their plan is just to hang on for as long as you can. Here is the problem. If there is a shark hunting you, just standing still is not going to help. There's a lot of trouble. And everyone I talk to says, I got 3 months left, 6 months left, 8 months left. So everybody has this countdown. It's like when you're in prison, they're like, how much longer do you have? I have 12 years, 6 months, 3 days. They know how much longer they have, but they're still not doing anything. And it comes down to knowledge. If you have more knowledge, then you're able to have better decisions in your life. This is what I'm worried about today. And this is why I do what I'm doing here on YouTube, is because I want to help people. So if you want to be part of that, please subscribe to my channel and please like this video and leave comments. Comments actually help out their algorithm a lot. So please continue to do that. If we want to take if you guys ever want my help to sell any of your properties in Toronto, of course, you can reach out to me to sell your home. If you want to sell your home for more money, faster and less hassle, you can go to sellhigher.ca. This is where we can help you when we're selling your property. Now, if you guys want me to help you out with anything while you guys are here online, give me some of your questions and I can see what I can do to help you. I like to come live. And I try to do it as much as I possibly can. But if you guys have some specific questions for me, this is why I do this. I know it's Friday night. You guys are all very, very busy. But if you pop them out for me, I'm going to try to get to them as fast as possible. Just so that you guys know, we are now in a place where if you have not sold your home and you were on the fence, I think that you're absolutely cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I think it's bananas that you haven't done it, you guys. Here is the main key. Not all real estate operates the same, and there's clues being left behind, and I want you guys to be able to catch that. Home prices have rebounded so much that I believe that it is a gift to you from heaven. I think it's amazing. That's if you're in Toronto. But let's just branch out from that, shall we? We had somebody who was asking us about cottage country, for example. Oh, I got bumped off. Let me just bump this. I'll flip it back and I'll try to get on. So we had a friend of ours who was asking about cottage country. If you are in cottage country, mega problems are happening right now. Prices are not rebounding. Remember, I said that not everywhere operates the exact same. Do you remember I said that? That is a lesson that you guys all have to learn. It does not operate the same. So if you guys can understand that, Toronto, I just showed you a chart, says everything is hunky dory. Everything has recovered back to the good old days. So let's just check that out. Okay, let me flip my screen here, and we're going to look at cottage country. You guys have been hearing me for over a year telling you the exact same things. We are not in Kansas anymore. This is not the same. Remember, average price in Toronto fully rebounded. Okay, fully rebounded. Now let's take a look at one of the cottage country. So in my area, it's north of Toronto, is a place called Kawartha Lakes, very exclusive area. So let's just try to take a look at that. Let's back it up. Let's see how is it behaved. Well, home prices have had a massive tumble from all the way up here. 974 was the average price in Kawartha Lakes, and it's tumbled down to 787. There hasn't been a recovery, but there has been in Toronto. And this is what I want you guys to understand is we always can run into issues like this. Bread and butter housing will always do well, but the trophy assets usually will fall. Not everybody needs a cottage, but everyone needs a place to live, right? That is a rule that we have to follow, I think, in life. So got another question coming in here. Let's see what it is. So guys, we're live on several channels, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok. And if you guys want to put questions, I'm trying to watch all of them. So let me know if you have any other questions. As a first-time home buyer, should I buy in 2023 or wait until 2024? Great question. Wait. Do not buy right now. But I would have to ask a question. Where were you thinking of buying? Remember, I told you that all real estate is not the same. It is not the same. So it really depends where you're actually looking to buy. So if we were going to take a look at the different cities across, this is a Canadian one or American, it really depends where. So if we were going to look at this chart, let's say that there's 30 different cities that are listed on this chart. If we're going to look at this chart, you basically should not be buying on anything that hasn't dropped above where the prices were in 2019 adjusted for inflation. So basically, like the top half, you probably would not be wanting to buy right now. The bottom half, you probably would be wanting to buy. It really depends where you are situated today. If the property makes sense to buy as a rental, then I would buy it for yourself, no problem. It just really matters where. So, you know, I know that might not be the best answer for the majority of people, because the majority of people want this answer. Yes, it's a good time to buy. No, it's not a good time to buy. Let me give you some examples. In a city like where I live, and this is the exact same as Chicago or Miami or whatever. If you're looking at office buildings, terrible investment. If you're looking at manufacturing places, amazing. If you're looking for restaurants, bad time to be looking for a restaurant for sure. Or nail salons, not a good time to be looking. If you're looking for RVs, prices have come way down on an RV. If you're thinking about buying in places that are linear markets, where markets are very stable all the time, that's a great place to be buying. If you're looking in buying in a cyclical market that bounces up and down all over the place, then you probably wouldn't want to be doing that. So a couple questions are going to come shooting at me. I know the next question is going to be, well, give me an example. So let's just shooting out there an example. Let's pick Oakville, for example, and let's pick, what's another big city? Montreal, maybe. Okay. Let's compare the two cities, Montreal versus Oakville. So here are two cities. One city is rapidly going up. So you're going to make a lot more money in appreciation, but you're going to make zero cash flow. Whereas a place like Montreal is going to have high cash flow, but it's not going to have bankruptcy events. Remember, this event in 2018, 2017, that's a bankruptcy event for a lot of people. This definitely is a bankruptcy event for a lot of people. And we have to wait to see what's going to happen after this crunch is happening right now. But Montreal home prices are very steady. Steady growth, nothing exciting, cash flow forever. So, you know, this is what I would be looking at if I were you. I think it's important. So that's a very, very good question. And I like your question. Thank you very much for that. Um, I want you guys to do that. And we also have to look at, remember, I was saying that there are clues. There are real estate winners and there's real estate losers. I don't want you to be a loser. I want you to win. So let's try to put our heads together and think forward of what are the interest rates going to be? The number one question that we get all the time. I'm just pulling up our 5-year bond. Now, it doesn't matter if we're looking in Canada or the United States. They operate the same. So let's try to take a look at this together. If we want to look at the bonds, if we're looking at the bonds right now, woo, I did something, sorry. We got to look at how it's behaving. Remember, the higher the price, the more home prices are going to get crushed. So let's take a look at where we are today. 3.7. When is the last time we were at that price? I can't even see it. Yeah, all the way back in October when the stock market was very, very low. And so remember, when the new year started, there was, let's take a look at the home prices in Toronto. You guys should be able to see a pattern. Why do you think home prices went up? Home prices went up because mortgage rates went down. Woo. We want to see all of Toronto. So let's see if we could find a comparison here. So home prices were sinking and sinking until the new year, and then they took off. So let's take a look at the bonds. How was it in the new year? Look at this big low. It went from a high, and these rates dropped. These are your mortgage rates. So as the mortgage rates drop, home prices shot up. Look at this low after Silicon Valley Bank collapsed. You had 2 months of extremely low rates. But what happens when those rates climb by 1%? It's going to squeeze 10% off of the home prices. This bond rate or treasury rate in the United States or gilt market in England, whatever you want to call them, this is what's going to dictate the price. So when you see that mountain of rates coming and piling on to 3.759, when you see that, you know that home prices are going to get squashed. It's just how it works. Remember, let's take a look at $1 million mortgage, okay, and say that we got a 5% before and it moved to 6%, okay? Let's just see what that 6% will cost you. So your payment would go to $5,800 and would climb up to $6,443. That is the 1% difference. But if you had to lower it down, what if you had to make it the exact same? You would have to drop this down to around $910,000. You would lose 9% with that 1% rate hike. Ay, ay, ay. So this is what's going to happen, guys, with these rates. It's got to squash it down. We got a question of somebody who is actually looking in Mississauga. Can you let me know if you were looking in Mississauga, for example, were you looking for a detached property or a condo, or what were you actually looking for? So let's pull up Mississauga just so that we have an idea of what we're looking for. This gentleman is saying that he's looking for a home. I'm going to guess that he's telling me that he's looking for a house. Do you notice it's the number one type, 2,101 homes sold in the past 2 years there? So let's take a look. Home prices have rebounded from 1.3 million all the way up to 1.6. 1.3 up to 1.6. Crazy. But let's just play a game. I see 1.9 1 year ago. Oh, that's 2 years ago. Sorry. Oh, wait. 1.9 was January last year. Okay. And 1.6 now. Let's put this on this loan calculator. And we're going to put one. I know that you have to put a down payment. I can't calculate that in my head. But I'm just saying if it was a 1.9 mortgage and a 1.6 mortgage, and last summer we had to pay 3%, and now most people are paying something like 7%. What would the payment difference be? The old payment would be $9,000. So I know that the home prices dropped from 1.9 to 1.6, but the interest rate hiking from 3% up to 7%. In fact, last spring it was 2%. What would that give you? $8,000 a month payment all the way up to $11,000 a month payment. Big, big, big difference. And so where are you going to come up with that extra $3,000 a month? That's what most people actually make. So absolutely crazy town, right? For that to actually be happening. This is for detached properties only. Of course, if we chose a condo, it'd be much, much different in a place like that. Let's try to see if we can find just condos just to see the difference in prices in that specific area. Home prices now are down to 628,000 for a condo. And a year and a half ago, it was at 743. That was the peak. So interest rates are having an effect, but they have not taken a full effect. This is the main goal for you. And so if anything, I want to inspire you guys to ask more questions. That's the main goal here. Ask more questions and learn more. Because if you learn more, things will get clearer and clearer for you. Some rules, all the toys in life, prices have to come down. Quads, RVs, look at RV prices, absolutely collapsed. The price of boats absolutely collapsed. Soon will be luxury cars like supercars and stuff like that. We're already seeing cottages way down, and those prices are not recovering. When you're in cities, we're seeing people from detached homes move down to semis down to towns into condos, and we're seeing this over and over again as people are downsizing. The only people who are not downsizing are the people who are in fixed rate mortgages. When you are in a fixed rate mortgage and you got another 3 years left on it, those people are not moving. So in the United States, they have the benefit of having a 30-year fixed mortgage. In Canada, the majority of people are 3 years, 2 years, 5 years at the most. I don't ever remember meeting anybody with a 7 or a 10-year mortgage except me. So let's see where it goes. There's going to be some more fireworks coming, you guys, either way. So I wish you guys the very best. As always, I want you to be safe. Please consider subscribing to the channel. Please consider leaving a comment. It actually helps me out and makes me understand where you guys are in the stream of things. So thanks so much. I'll talk to you soon.